Hi folks, I want to do another video and tell you what my intentions are. My website is realestateindustry.whistleblower.com. We have a whole lot of websites and we're trying to get in the search engines for a whole lot of terms so that you, the real estate consumer, can find me and find out the truth about the real estate industry. I don't know everything. I'm not claiming to know everything. I'm only talking to you folks about my experience as a real estate broker owner, as someone who got their broker owner's license in about 10 months, and I opened my own office at pretty much the 1-year mark. I had quite a few agents. I'm licensed in several states, and I seen a whole lot of bad things happen to real estate consumers, and I seen where the realtor was not accountable. I watched this stuff happen. I tried to do things. I tried to fight for buyer's rebates. I tried to fight for real estate consumers' rights, and I tried to change things from within, and there was nothing I could do. I couldn't get the Realtors Association to hold realtors accountable. I couldn't protect my consumer. And then I seen situations so bad with proven fraud that I went to the MLS and told them about, and they didn't care. I went to the MLS and told them about data that was wrong, and nobody listened. And my frustration built up. I was a real estate broker owner, well I still am, but I was a realtor for like 8 years, and I quit about a year ago the National Association of Realtors because I was very frustrated with the fact that I put my hand over my heart and I promised to protect you folks and do the best I can in real estate, and I couldn't, right? And I was a broker owner as a realtor, so I was able to speak for the agents that worked under me, and there was nothing I could do to hold realtors accountable. Now I believe that, well, I know that Century 21, ERA, Sotheby's, and there's one more, that's, oh, Coldwell Banker, they're owned by like Cendant, Apollo Management, or who knows what the flavor of the month is. But Coldwell Banker in my area recently told folks that they weren't going to be around in 5 years. And, you know, or even less. And yet they're telling people, this particular Coldwell Banker was telling people a year ago, buy, 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 and then of course the market collapsed and they've lost everything. So these particular franchises are favored by local MLSs because they own part of Realtor.com. They kind of own the top of the food chain, you know. So they are chosen over independents such as myself. I brought fraud and nobody cares. They look at it and they're like, oh, this particular realtor is involved, so they send you down the road. So my frustration in not being able to protect the real estate consumer pushed me out of the National Association of Realtors. They didn't ask me to leave. I quit because they're just bogus. They're baloney. There's no accountability. They have all these ethics and they pretend they're of a higher standard and they're not. So these websites, this particular one, realestateindustry.whistleblower.com, has about 500 posts now. And I have quite a few other websites, and I'm trying to show you people what the National Association of Realtors is all about. Get you to stop using realtors in your real estate transaction. You know, be kind of a counterweight to tell you that they're not of a higher standard. They're not telling you the truth. They're not holding their agents accountable. And no, I don't hate realtors. I don't have any sort of vendetta or anger or hatefulness to bring towards realtors. The realtors, most of them are good people, and they just want to sell you something, and they want to make a living, and they want to be good to you, and they want to go out and have dinner, and they're not lying to you, and they're just, you know, they're just good people. But they are butting up against that wall that I was, and they can't protect you from the realtors that are bad, because the National Association of Realtors doesn't hold the bad ones accountable. So, and they're the ones kind of making most of the money because, you know, being bad, well, pays really good. I used to empty my pocket and go back, you know, the truth doesn't pay or whatever, but I was good at real estate. I still am good at real estate, but I do real estate marketing, and I try to get the real estate consumer to sell without a realtor. Yeah, I love the money. I love to sell a $2 million property and get $120,000. Who wouldn't? You know, I mean, I went to school for a week. A year later, I went to school another week. Cha-ching! Right? I have a degree in forestry. I couldn't make the kind of money I made. Well, let's just get real here. I made like $12,000, $18,000 a year with a forestry degree as a forest tech. I know I could have, you know, did all the politics of that, got higher up on the ladder, you know, I could have made more money there. But I made $120,000 my first year in real estate, and I just kept, you know, the money just kept pouring in and pouring in and pouring in, and I just, you know, kept throwing it out, and I wanted to give it back to my consumer, can't do that. I couldn't give a buyer's rebate. I couldn't give a finder's fee. I couldn't give gifts. I couldn't give cars. I couldn't give plane rides. You know, my local association told me all this stuff. So in being a good person and wanting to help you folks and do right by your folks and having my hands just tied, being smacked down, has led me to want to do this. I was really good at real estate in the realtor game, and I'm not just going to walk away from that. Just say, well, maybe real estate's not for you. That's what some people like to say. No, real estate is for me, and real estate is for you. Real estate is where you live, where you work, where you raise your family. It's where we die. It's where we're born. Real estate is everything, and it matters to our very life. When a real estate transaction goes bad, we are stressed out, we lose time, we lose sleep, we lose money, we lose years of our life. And 99% of the time, the people that cause that stress, oh-de-doo-de-doo, they're on their boat or their cars or they're, buying new property, they're selling stuff, they're making just a grand old living while you're suffering. And I want to change that. I'm not going to be able to take down the National Association of Realtors. I'm not going to be able to stop the local realtors from coming in and using their clout to push you around and run your local planning boards and, create more and more housing developments and subdivisions. And I'm not going to be able to stop any of that. But if I can educate one of you to keep you out of the trouble that I've seen some real estate consumers get into by the lies of realtors, then all this is worth it. Even if I can just help one of you. So that's what these sites are about. I'm not a hate monger. I'm not, ignorant. I'm not a lot of the things that the realtors are telling me and slamming me daily. I'm just wanting to speak to you, the real estate consumer, and educate you on the things that you don't know. It's not in all those real estate books you can buy. It's not in those late night infomercials on Get Rich in Real Estate. It's the cruel, cold, hard facts. It's what's really going on, what people are saying when those doors close, what realtors say to each other on the phone. It's about those backup offers that aren't really there. It's about all the little lies that can ruin your life. And that's what I'm out for. I'm not out to hurt anybody. I'm out to help you. And in that, I'm going to get attacked every day, probably for the rest of my life from some realtor. And there'll always be a new one. And every time realtors quit, new ones will go to school for a week and they'll be there and, they'll be trying to get your listing next. Knock, knock, knock. So you, the real estate consumer, need to be educated because the good realtors, they can't make it. And they're leaving the real estate industry, and there's dozens, hundreds, thousands more lined up behind them that are ready to go, I promise to protect the real estate consumer. And they don't know in that moment that there's no way they can actually do it. So check out realestateindustrywhistleblower.com and check out savvybroker.com and have a great day. And remember, nobody cares about you like you do. So make sure you protect yourself in your real estate transaction.